show up or don't. So, welcome everybody to our first meeting of the year, and hope everybody looks nice and cozy at home. Remember the old days when we had to drive and haul our equipment and clear off our cars and try and get into the building. So, I guess having the Zoom meetings has worked out very well for winter for Rochester. So, we're happy, even if we have no snow out there today. But
Perfect.
yes, and I want to thank everybody who came out to our Christmas dinner at our new restaurant we went to. What is it, La Bella? I forgot
Vita,
how. Yes,
Vita.
La
yes,
Bella Vita. It was
that's right.
excellent. It was
So
excellent.
we had a very good time. So hopefully next year, those of you who didn't come can come and enjoy a good meal wherever we decide to land next year. So, all right, Steve. Well, then why don't you start with what are you going to start with?
Ken wanted to start with Tax-Aide
All right, then
before
we'll get right into it.
before we all fall asleep.
Okay. Hello, everybody. A lot of you know me. I'm Ken Schultz, and I work for AARP Tax-Aide Foundation. I run the Henrietta location. I also assist in Pittsford. And I'm going to put up here, let's see. First off, let's
Was Lyle going to join, or was it just you?
uh,
Because I know you were taking over for Lyle, but I saw Steve had put Lyle in there too as
yeah,
presenting.
Lyle wasn't able to do it this year. Let me just see if I can get this going here. Window, share. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Yep.
So this is the Tax-Aide locator for AARP, and what you do is you just go to AARP and in the search Foundation Tax-Aide locator, you put in Monroe County, and you can put in your state. Everything is in person, and it will give you the different locations. Now, these are not all the locations, and the reason why they may not all be there because all the sites may not have opened yet on the web page. There's a process we have to do to open the site so it shows up on here. So all you have to do is go in, and for example, if you go to Henrietta, it will show you here are the times 9 to 2:15, where appointment required, and it will say starting the 15th, which is tomorrow, call for an appointment, no online appointment. So you know exactly what you have to do, and here's the contact number. And other sites may have the same, obviously a different contact number. Let me do this. I am going to bring up another one. I sent this to Steve, and he can send it out to people. This is all the sites in the Rochester area, Genesee County, Ontario, Yates. So it goes down to Penn Yan, Geneva, Canandaigua, and obviously around the Rochester area. And it will tell you on this sheet, the phone number and who you're talking to. So in Henrietta, we have a receptionist. They're very helpful, and they take the appointments for us. So there's how you get to a site. And just remember that if you do go to an AARP site, make sure you have all your documents, your W-2s, especially the 1099-Rs or brokerage. They don't come out until like the middle of February, a lot of these things. So if you don't have your documents, and especially like brokerage and 1099-Rs, don't make the appointment until, let's say, March. That way you're sure to get all your documents, because if you don't have a document and we need the document, we're going to have to send you home, and that way you're going to have to find the document and then come back in. So we don't want you to do that. Okay, now the next thing, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the presentation here. And hang on one second. Window, here we go. So I'm not going to cover everything in this that's on here. I am going to cover very briefly tips and overtime in some of the different forms. New car deduction, or I should say new vehicle interest deduction, which you can deduct the interest on your new car or motorcycle. The standard deduction, senior deduction, enhanced senior deduction. I think a lot of people in this meeting are going to be very interested in that. So why don't we just go on and let's go to reduced tax on tips. We all heard about no tax on tips. It's not no tax on tips. It's no income tax on tips. You're still subject to Social Security and Medicare taxes. Income taxes are waived up to $25,000. And that's just income tax. No matter what, you're still going to have to pay the Social Security and FICA. Not everybody qualifies. You need a Social Security number. Income over 150,000. If you're single, married, filing joint, it starts to phase out. If you are married, filing separately, you do not qualify. Rick?
Sorry, I accidentally hit the wrong thing.
Okay. Okay. So basically, I mean, there's a whole big process with, especially with W-2s and everything. Not everything is set in stone. Employers may not put everything in for tips. So it's going to be a challenge for us counselors to try to weed out everything. The next thing is no tax or reduced tax on overtime. Anybody who does overtime, it's going to be also subject to Social Security and Medicare taxes. Okay, so it's not no taxes, it's reduced taxes. And $12,500 if you're single, and up to $25,000 married, filing jointly. And this is the key part of this. Only for the half-time pay of the time and a half. So what that means is, and we'll go over that in a second. So you need a Social Security number, and it does married filing separately, just like a lot of other things. It does not qualify for a lot of different things. So here's an example. Bill makes $20 an hour in regular pay. So his overtime pay would be what? $30. And the difference is $10 an hour. Only that $10, the overtime of the pay, the overtime pay of the overtime counts. So basically it's 1/3 of what your total overtime pay is. So if you make $30 an hour, 10 of that is the overtime. If you work 60, that's $600. You do not pay tax on the $600. It's not on the, if you did $30 an hour times 10, times, 30 times 60, that's not it. It's only the $10 times the 60 to come to that no tax on that part of the overtime. questions on that? And I don't know how many people here do overtime, but that's how they're doing it. Yeah, so they're just talking about how we as counselors are supposed to handle this, and it's going to be kind of a thoughtful. Anybody do some work where they get paid through a 1099K? If you do some outside work, you get paid by Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, and you may get a 1099K. This year, they went back to the lower standards where if you have more than 20,000 in sales and more than 200 transactions, that's when they would send a form out. If you do not get a form, you still have to report that income. And also, if you do typically get a 1099K, this limit may not apply because a lot of companies, what they were doing is last year they started going by the new standards and they backed off those. So instead of going for the 20,200 transactions, they're going for the lower amount. That way they don't have to change all their forms. So even though it doesn't reach this level, you still may get a 1099K. And 1099 non-employee compensation and 1099 miscellaneous. And here are some of the things, that's for contractors at 1099 NEC, freelancers, and 1099 miscellaneous is for any other income like rents, prizes, legal settlements, something that's not part of your compensation. Questions on those? Okay.
That
quickie.
Go ahead, Charlie.
A quickie. When you mentioned that, and I wish I could see that previous thing, but the one for, thank you.
This one?
Exactly. The miscellaneous. Will
Yep.
New York State or somebody be sending one of those out to us for that crummy $200 that everybody got a few months ago?
No.
Well, so we just have to report that ourselves, but there's no document.
No. You don't have to report it.
Really? Okay, cool.
You're talking about the inflation reduction check?
Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah. Well, because what we're told is when we do the taxes, okay, when we get to that section in New York State, we don't even put it in unless you're part of, was it Yonkers?
Probably.
One of the places, because they use it for city tax or whatever. So it's not taxable in New York State, especially if you do the standard deduction.
Right.
Now
okay.
we're still waiting to find out whether it's taxable if you do for federal if you do itemized deduction. So we're still not sure about that because they're still making up some of the rules and we're still trying to find out.
Thank you.
Okay.
There was that $2 billion.
Yes.
Am I on? No. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. There was that $2 billion lottery jackpot. They said after taxes he's going to bring home about $500 million. And somebody says, "Well, that's the only billionaire that got taxed properly."
Right.
This year, because after next year they'll probably find out ways to not be taxed. Anyway.
Yep.
And that's because he had no choice. They deducted the taxes
Directly
before he got a penny.
Yeah. And
Right.
all the other billionaires, it's stock value only. They have zero income, so they pay no taxes.
Right. So here are some adjustments and deductions. We're going to go through some of these. Educator expense, $300, even if you just use a standard deduction for classroom supplies, books, and so forth. It goes away next year. Well, it doesn't go away. It goes to itemized deductions. So a lot of people, if they're doing standard deduction, they're not going to be able to take advantage of this. But it does expand to go to coaches and sports administrators and some of these other professional development expenses. But there is no cap. That's the difference. Where if you do an itemized deduction, you can have, it says no cap. So it could be something that you may want to deduct if you have a couple $1,000s in expenses. It may be worth it. Here's something that may be of interest to almost everybody. The new car, I should say vehicle loan deduction, because it's not necessarily a car. Itemizing, you don't have to do itemizing. So you get $10,000 interest-free per year, up to that amount. It has to be new, American-made vehicle assembled in the U.S. 14,000 pounds under, must have at least 2 wheels. So that means a motorcycle counts. And it's for personal use only, not for Uber, DoorDash, or any work. And a VIN is required. So you should get an interest statement from the lender to be able to use that.
Are there
Now,
any?
the
Are there
one
any?
thing that when you put in a VIN, and you probably can look, has anybody bought a car this year in 2025? When you put in the VIN, if it starts with a 1, 4, or 5, that means it was made in the U.S. So you know right there, 1, 4, or 5, you can use that if you purchased it this year and want to take the loan interest deduction. If it starts with a J, that means it's made in Japan. W means it's made in Germany, and so forth. And I think there was another one for K, maybe K is Korea, or maybe it's a different letter. But you have to have these things. If you don't have the right VIN number, let's say it's made in Canada, like my car is, it's a Honda, it won't qualify. So it has to be American made, 2 wheels, personal use, and the VIN. This is very important. If you don't have the VIN, they're probably going to kick it back to you.
So what about a Ford that's made in Korea? It's an American car, but not assembled in America.
Has to be assembled, made in America.
So your Honda wouldn't qualify on 2 counts. It's Japanese and Canadian.
Well, there are some Japanese cars that are made in America. Okay, it's where it's made. Okay,
not the owner of the car or the
not
dealer.
Like for Honda. If it was made in America, it would have the 1, 4, or 5. My car has a 2, which means it's made in Canada. So you can just look it up, and there is a vehicle, a VIN lookup, which you can look it up. You type in the VIN, but if you just look at the 1, 4, or 5, you know it doesn't count. Questions on that?
Yeah, so if you do look at the 1, 4, or 5, it does count.
It does count. 1, 4, or 5. That means they're made in the U.S.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So would a 3 be Mexico?
Could be. I'm not sure.
1, 4, and 5 is U.S. 2 is Japan. That only leaves
2 is Canada.
2 is Canada. So 1, 2, 4, and 5 are accounted for. 3 is outstanding. I'm guessing Mexico.
Well, I'm not exactly sure. You can look it up. We'll tell you.
Oh.
Okay, health savings account. In 2026, this is for 2026. It goes up.
Ken,
Yeah.
to go back to that, it says up to $10,000. What determines how much up to 10,000?
Well, when you get a statement, it may say you paid $1,000 in interest this year.
Okay. Oh, all
or
right.
last year in 2025. Okay. Now, if you have a $10,000 loan interest, that means you have a very, very big loan.
Okay. I
Okay.
got you. Yeah, I see.
No McLarens for you.
No, yeah,
No, that's a
yeah.
British car. Sorry. Rivian.
Rivian, right. Well, even that's not that. Um,
I,
so
I
I mean, people are not going to get, most people are not going to get anywhere near this number, the $10,000. Whatever it is per year, maybe it's $1,500. You can deduct that, and you don't have to itemize.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, health savings accounts. These are going up next year. If anybody has that, gym memberships up to $500 are reimbursable. And both spouses age 55 and plus can make catch-up contributions to the same as HSA. Okay, here's where I think a lot of people are going to be interested in standard deductions. The standard deduction is a fixed dollar amount based on the filing status, and it increases due to inflation every year. If you remember back in 2017, when this new tax thing that Trump put in first came about, the standard deduction was $24,000. And 8 years later, here it is. The standard deduction single, married filing separately is $15,750. Married filing jointly is $31,500, and head of household $23,625. If you are married and you're over 65 or older, you each get $1,600 extra in deductions for the standard deduction. Married filing separately, you would get $2,000 each for age and or blindness. Now, if you are 65 and older and blind, you would get $1,600 for being blind and $1,600 for being 65 or over. So that can add up pretty quickly. And what we call the enhanced senior deduction. This is new for this year from 2025 to 2028. If you are 65 or older, taxpayer and the spouse must both have work authorized Social Security numbers. ITIN numbers do not qualify. And you're wondering, what is a work authorized Social Security? Most of us have there's three types of Social Security. One is for work authorized, one is for not work authorized, and one is the standard Social Security number that most of us have. If you have a taxpayer identification number and not a Social Security, you don't qualify for this deduction. And you do not have to have Social Security income to qualify. This has nothing to do with Social Security. Trump said a while back during his campaign, he was going to get rid of taxes on Social Security. Well, he really couldn't do that because he would have to go to Congress and have Congress pass a bill to do that.
He doesn't seem to care about Congress.
Right, but if he wanted this, this is the way to go about it, of adding another bill. This is not part of Social Security, so it's very easy for him to do.
Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Would work authorize Social Security on which you pay self-employment tax? Would that come under this?
Well, you would get this no matter what.
Okay.
So if you, work for yourself, whatever, this is a deduction, whether you take the standard deduction or itemized deduction. It's what they call below the line. And after you figure out the standard deduction, then it takes off either the $6,000 or the $12,000. But there are some caveats to this. The deduction phases out starting at $75,000 for single and $150,000 for married couples. And any tax system will automatically calculate this. So, examples of single person standard deduction, $15,750. Okay. Example 2, a single person not over 65. Oh, single person over 65, not blind, and has a valid Social Security card. So you get the regular standard deduction, $2,000 for being over 65 or over, plus another $6,000 senior deduction for a total of $23,750. So that's $6,000 more than they would have gotten without this. And again, no matter where you go, it's going to automatically calculate this. So whoever's doing the taxes doesn't have to add this in. It's automatically done. Here's another one. Taxpayer has an ITIN and 62 years old. The spouse has a valid Social Security card and 64 years old. So the standard deduction would be $31,500 for married filing jointly, because one has a Social Security card. That's not impacted by an ITIN. And then we have example number 2. The taxpayer has an ITIN. It's a married couple. The spouse has a valid Social Security card and is 67 years old. Because the taxpayer has an ITIN, okay, there is no senior deduction since one of the taxpayers has an ITIN. And here's the one that's probably going to benefit most of us, where you have the standard deduction plus $1,600 each for being over 65 or over, and a senior deduction of $12,000. So they could be up to $46,700 in total deductions. And it could even be a little bit more if you were blind and over 65. And again, the system will calculate that.
So this should not be an incentive to go out and blind yourself. Is that what you're telling us?
No, I wouldn't think so. I can't see it. Oh, I can't see people doing that. Okay. Questions about that? Because I know a lot of people, this is going to impact mostly everybody in this room. Okay.
Is there a minimum amount of Social Security when you actually have to file? Like if you were under some amount, you wouldn't have to file your 1040 at all?
There's an amount, exactly what it is, because it changes every year, that you wouldn't have to file. But I'm going to recommend this to everybody. Everybody file your taxes, whether you have to or not. It does 2 things. Number 1, you know this inflation reduction check we got from New York State? Did everybody get it?
Yep.
People got it, right?
Yep.
Well, if you did not file your return in 2023, you're not getting it. We can't even go back. Well, we've been told you can't even go back and do the 2023 return to be able to get it. So that's why we're saying to everybody, file your return, because you never know, in future years there may be something that's dependent on your 2025 tax return, maybe in 2027, New York State or whatever. Another one, if you file, that will help reduce identity theft, because if you file every year, someone can't file in your place if you've already filed. So the recommendation is always file your return, especially people who are older, maybe they're going in assisted living and they have to show some income. They have to have their tax return and so forth. So even if they say you don't have to file your return every year. Questions? Okay. Itemized deductions. It's pretty standard. The only real big thing for itemized deductions for this year is the state and local taxes up to 40,000 from 10,000. This may not impact a lot of people in the Rochester area, but I know downstate it will impact it because they pay a lot of money in real estate or state and local taxes, so that will benefit them. Cash donations, non-cash goods. If you have something over $500 with AARP, it's out of scope for us. If you do non-cash goods, okay.
Back on the state and local, the medical and dental expenses, is it only the increment above 7.5% that applies, or the whole thing?
Yeah, this anything over 7.5%. So if it's make $100,000, anything over the $7,500, that will count.
It's the it's the increment that counts.
Pardon me?
It's the increment that counts. It's not the whole
No.
7.5%.
It's the amount over 75.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
So, for example, I know somebody came in last year with $20,000 worth of medical and dental stuff, right? And it was well over the 7.5%. So we used that, and she did the itemized deduction, which helped her out and gave her a bigger return. So you should only take this itemized deduction if you know it's going to exceed the standard deduction. Usually the tax programs will figure out which is the best one. Okay, state and local taxes for 2026 and later. That goes up 1% a year. So next year it's going to be 40,400. In 2029, 2027, 28, it's going to be up another 1%. In 29, another 1%, and then it goes back down to $10,000 after 2029. And these things haven't changed. Mortgage interest paid on qualified home loans is deductible. Military, if you're moving. Mortgage interest deduction can be deducted with homes mortgage principal up to $750,000. Now this limit is now permanent. Charity. Okay. Taxpayers who take a standard deduction can now deduct a charitable contribution to qualified organizations up to $1,000 single, $2,000 married, family, jointly. That is going to be permanent. This is for 2026. So now is the time to start writing out your checks to your favorite charity. In 2025, there's nothing. There is no deduction for charitable contributions in 2026 or 2025.
So this is looking towards the future. So
Yeah.
what does permanent mean?
Permanent means that's going to be there's no expiration date until there is.
Until there is.
Until they change it again, yeah.
Yeah.
But
they change it until the new law comes in.
But it doesn't auto expire like some
It
things.
doesn't automatically expire. Okay.
Doesn't automatically expire. So for itemized donations must exceed 0.5% of their AGI for the tax year. So that's a pretty low threshold, but it's still something. that you have to keep in mind. Gambling. Bob, this is for you.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Okay. For 2026, you can only deduct up to 90% of the amount that you won in gambling losses. So let's say you won $3,000 and you lost $2,000. Well, you can only deduct the $2,000 and you would have to pay, on the 1,000. But next year is going to be 90% of the amount in gambling losses. So if you have $2,000, 90% of the 2,000 is going to reduce how much you can deduct. And you must itemize your deductions to be able to claim it. This is not a change for this year. This has always been the case where in order to itemize a loss, you have to do itemized deductions to claim it. Okay, now, very quickly, here are some credits. Going to very quickly go through these. The child tax credit. You have to have, children must have work eligible Social Security numbers, must have lived in the U.S. for over 6 months during the tax year, and at least one parent on the return must have a Social Security number to get the child tax credit. It's 2025 non-refundable credit up to $2,200. And does everybody know what a non-refundable and a refundable credit is?
No, thank you.
Okay. A refundable credit, let's say you have $4,000 in taxes you owe. You can use this $2,200 per child as a non-refundable credit. But if you have, let's say you have $1,000 in tax liability, you can only use 1,000 of the 2,200. It's non-refundable. So once you go past zero, you can't get that additional credit. And that means non-refundable credits to pay the tax liability are usually lost if it exceeds the credit. That's it.
Whereas a refundable credit might be something like the earned income credit for low-income people with kids. Or
a refundable credit is something, let's say you owe no taxes.
Right.
But you have a credit of $2,000. Well, you're going to get $2,000 back.
Right.
That's a refundable credit.
Right. Thank you.
And why they make some refundable, why they make some non-refundable, who the hell knows?
Well, if they were all refundable, they'd get less tax revenue.
That's exactly right. Additional child tax credit, and here are some of the things with that. I don't think too many people here are worried about the child tax credit, but it's done automatically in the program. Dependent care credit. Taxpayers can receive between 20 and 35% of their dependent care expenses as a non-refundable credit. No, dependent can be, let's say, a child that you're taking care of. It could be for a parent that you're taking care of, and so forth. So this could apply to anybody. Next year is going to go up, receive between 35 and 50% of what they pay for the dependent care. So that's going to help people out. Let's see. How much can be? I'm going to skip this part. And I'm going to go. This is for education credits. must have a valid social security number, must file jointly, got to put in the EIN for the school identification. 529 accounts for 2026 can be up to 20,000 per year. It can be used for tuition, books. It can be for public, private, or religious schools. Okay, here's a big one. Energy credits. Anybody have any energy improvements in 2025? Furnace, insulation, windows, doors. Anybody? Anybody planning on doing it this year in 2026? If you didn't do it in 25, it's gone. It was supposed to go until 2032, the energy credits. But Trump got rid of it in his one big beautiful bill, and it's no longer available. So if you didn't take advantage of it in 2025, it is gone for years beyond that. After September 30th, 25, the new and used clean vehicle credits for EV vehicles was eliminated. So you have no more energy credits for that. So they're getting rid of a lot of the energy credits for everybody. So let me see. I don't know if anybody is adopting anybody. There is a credit increased up to 17,280 for expenses paid. Up to 5,000 is refundable. This is new. So, Affordable Care Act. This is going to be this year. It's going to be a mess with everybody trying to get their health insurance and what they're going to have to pay. So basically, let me just see if there's other. Trump savings account. The new Trump's child savings account will deposit $1,000 for every child born between 25 and 28. It's a one-time deposit. U.S. citizens with a social security number. Parents have to opt in for the child to have an account. But the parent, starting after July, can put up to $5,000 a year into this account. Employers can also make deposit. Those would be tax-free, and the money is protected from garnishment. It is in a retirement account, so it's going to build up interest-free. But when you take the money out, it is taxed as a long-term capital gain. So if you have made some, have a higher adjusted gross income, maybe you'd be like 15% rather than what your tax rate is. So long-term capital gain could be 0, it could be 15%. It should be less than normal income tax. So I kind of went through some of the things that may apply to everyone. There are some things that didn't apply to everyone, but I think the biggest things are the energy credits and the vehicle loan deduction and the enhanced senior deduction. I think this is that especially is going to be a benefit to seniors for the next 4 years. May add, and some people, if they don't have big enough income, may not benefit them at all, believe it or not. But so, questions that you may have. Come on, don't be shy. And let me just,
Say, how How likely is it that you can do your own taxes yourself anymore?
Um, well, you can. I mean, TurboTax does a good job. But if you have a service that doesn't charge you anything, and we do a really good job with the taxes, as you know, Steve, um, that take advantage of it.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people who are very knowledgeable. If there's something that one of the counselors doesn't understand, we have other people to help out. I mean, that's what this is all about, our program. Uh, because, as you know, tax law is complicated. And it's not easy, and especially if you don't know what you're doing, very easy to make a mistake.
Yeah, I read a meme going around again this year that the government says you owe us taxes, but we're not going to tell you how much. And if you guess wrong, you go to jail.
Yep.
I mentioned it. I mentioned it.
Oh, just a couple other things I wanted to point out to you. Always do a direct debit or direct deposit. First off, we've been notified by the post office that, let me just take this off here. We've been notified, the post office, that if you drop it off April 15th at 11:30, they're not being postmarked there. They're being sent to another location, so it could be a week later before they get postmarked. Remember how you used to drive to the post office, drop it off, and there's people there collecting it, and they would be able to postmark it? No, it may not happen. So if you are thinking about it, e-file your return, do a direct debit. Because if you're sending a check, you've heard about things at the main post office where somebody gets the mail carrier's keys and they go into the post office, those boxes, and they look for checks. Then they change the checks and everything. If you are waiting for a check this year and you don't want direct deposit, the IRS will send you a letter saying, please sign up for direct debit or direct deposit. If you do not do a direct deposit for your refund, usually it may take 6-8 weeks for direct deposit. For paper check. It may double or triple that time, because the first thing that they're going to do is send you a letter, please do a direct deposit. It may happen that in the next couple of years, they may say you must do that, a direct deposit or direct debit. And it's safer. All the problems that if you're expecting a check and people go into the mailboxes and everything and take your check, you're out of luck. Where direct deposit, direct debit is painless, simple, very, very few mistakes if you have the right account and everything. You all get your Social Security check deposited, and it's that simple. Yeah. Question?
Go ahead. After you're done.
And also, if you have over $1,000 that you owe, we are going to hand out a letter to people in Henrietta and Pittsburgh telling them that they could get a letter from the IRS owing a penalty. And there are steps that you can do to, there's a program, if you contact them, you say, I don't have enough money right now, I can't pay the whole thing. If you talk to the IRS, there's a program where you can set up payments. There is a program where you can eliminate the penalty and interest for the first time. So if you do owe $1,000 or more, um, you probably will get a letter from the IRS. So, Charlie, you said you had some things?
Yeah, I got a couple things shucking around my head here. A number of years ago, I considered getting my refund from the IRS in direct deposit, electronic deposit. And at that time, it seemed to me that their instructions said, you had to give the routing number and all that shit for your account. But their instructions said, if you made a mistake in that, you were basically out of luck. Whereas I think they backed off from that now. And if there's an error in it, you can still rectify that and get your refund, right?
Yeah, there's a way to do it. It may take some time,
Right.
but it will. It can be fixed.
Okay. And then the other thing is, and I wish I could remember where the heck this comes from, but there's some kind of notification that comes up that you can't use some sort of electronic transaction program for tax payments and stuff like that. And I don't know if that means like Zelle or something like that,
Mhm. Okay, there is a. Let me just see. I did have it here. Hang on one second.
Well, if it doesn't ring a bell, don't worry about it too much. What happens to me every year is I end up owing $16 to New York State for sales tax, and something like that, or $10 or some dumb thing. So I have to write this check to New York State. Now, is New York State going to insist on being paid electronically, or should I just see what the instructions say and go with it?
Well, I mean, I would recommend everybody do electronic payments because it's safer. Once you get it set up.
I hear you. I do.
Okay, I'm just going to bring this up here one more time. This.
Gonna blow you up again here.
Yeah, this is the letter we're going to be handing out, and if you owe money. Let's say quarterly payments, or you owe money, you can go to this website, and I'm not sure if it's
It won't share that new window.
okay, but it says it just says it takes you to direct pay, so you can set up a direct payment from your bank account if you want to do quarterly payments and things like that.
So is that basically trying to penalize you for underestimating how much tax to let them collect?
You are supposed to, as you go along, pay your fair share of taxes throughout the year. Okay? So, for example, that's why you pay every paycheck, you have taxes taken out because you pay as you go. Some people who don't pay as you go, well, they're going to have a big payment, and they're going to have probably a penalty because they didn't pay as they go. So, and usually they do have the program for the first time penalty abatement. They may be able to remove the interest and penalty, especially if you have a clean record. So,
now, people used to use that stratagem in years gone by, in the theory that rather they would have their own money and they'd invest it or whatever and make money on it, and then pay the government one shot in April or whatever.
Yeah,
but apparently the government doesn't want you to do that anymore, and it's understandable.
No, I mean, it's always been that way, that you pay. I mean, some people have, maybe they haven't given a penalty, whatever. But usually if it's over $1,000, they may send you a letter, and you should just be aware of that.
Okay. Well, I don't have that problem anyway, but the other thing I was going to say, and I say this every year, but I have a feeling the reason nobody gets excited about it is that I'm the only member of the club poor enough to take advantage of this. But I use a free tax service through New York State. And, it just walks me through. There are actually a couple little catches in it you have to notice, but mostly it does a good job. I've done it for years now.
Because there was a speculation, maybe even an announcement, that the free tax filing programs would be canceled.
Yeah, I know it. I noticed that announcement, but
at the behest of like H&R Block's lobbies.
yeah. Well, I suppose this year, if I try to log on and the thing doesn't exist anymore, I'll know the answer. But the company that I've used is called Online Taxes, and you go to tax.newyork.gov or whatever the heck it is, and you have to go through the state tax website to the private service and pick one of those, and then you just go from there, and it works fine. But it's only up to about $75,000 income a year, I think, which I clear with room for a tall hat on top of my head.
Yeah, we actually have saved between Pittsford and Henrietta, I think $1.5 million in tax fees that people would have paid if they had to pay.
Yeah, right.
A lot of people are paying $250, $300 for a fairly simple return. If you have, a lot of paper, they H&R Block and other places, they charge by the sheet, right? By the page. And so we get people in, are very appreciative of the work we do. It doesn't cost them anything. We can't discriminate against anybody who wants to come in. There are some returns that we call are out of scope. Like if last year you had an electric vehicle, right? You got the rebate before September. We couldn't do that return. That's out of scope for us. And there are some things that we can't do, but we try to pick it up before we go through your whole return and tell you, sorry, but you're going to have to find someplace else to do your return.
Right.
So I hope this gave you a little insight. There's a couple of new things, especially the enhanced senior deduction and the new car vehicle deduction, which may apply to many of us.
It's very good, Ken, and thank you so much.
Yep.
Yes, thank you. That was very helpful.
Yes, thank you, Ken.
Okay.
Yes.
You're welcome. Glad to be of service. Sign up early. Sign up early, but don't sign up for early.
Too early.
But I'm going to make this recommendation. You should sign up early, but a date, let's say in later February or March, because the sites do get filled up very, very quickly. So start to think about when you're going to get your forms in. If you typically get them by the end of January, you should be all set. Do something for later in February or March, and that should take care of, getting all your forms and everything.
We usually end up getting and spending our refund before tax day.
Yes.
So hopefully we'll have a better return this year. Who knows?
Well, with the senior deduction, you should. A lot of people have a bigger. They're going to have a bigger refund if they get a refund.
Yeah, but the problem is the program will end before Steve actually turns 65.
That's true.
I mean, I can never retire. I got to keep taking care of you.
So unless they decide to continue that after 28, then you might actually be there. You'll finally be 65. So
I kind of doubt it because that's when
Trump will be done.
And they're going to try to get rid of a lot of these things. So take advantage of it now if you can.
So you did a good job, Ken, just as good as Lyle.
Well, thank you.
You've got more experience under your belt now, so
Yeah, we get the same information, so.
I know. Well, again, thank you very much for that. That was very informative. I learned a few things to know when we do our taxes, what to look out for. And like you said, it's all automatic, so it'll be good.
Good to be
Yeah,
thinking about it
just
early.
make sure you get all your documents in order. Always bring your um, property tax and everything. This year, it may not have anything to do with any New York State rebates or anything, but you should always gather that because you never know. Next year, New York State may come out with another property tax rebate or something that you may have to have filed, or you need your your property taxes and school taxes and stuff like that. So you never know.
Now, I have a question. I heard a rumor of this, and I don't know if you've heard it, about people 65 and older not paying school taxes.
What country?
For us, the US, there were a lot of people who say, because you're older and you don't have any kids in school, why are you paying school taxes? But I heard, I didn't know if there was I didn't think there was any truth to that, but
Because we don't want the kids to be stupid.
Well,
Too late.
I know, but I'm just.
You can have an exemption from some of your taxes if you're over 65.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, there's, New York State has the enhanced star.
Yeah.
And then you would get a check every year rather than having it taken off directly from your taxes. But what I've heard is that check will probably go up every year, whereas if you have just the star
Right.
taken off your taxes, that does not change year over year. But if you get if you get a check, okay, for your taxes, then it will. I think it's going to go up every year.
Well, there was when they started that, there was like a decision you had to make as to which one you wanted to do. And I think when I looked at it, there was only $100 difference between whether you got a check directly or whether they just deducted it. So I don't know if they're going to send something out again, giving you the option on that or not.
You can do it like if you go to the senior enhanced star, I believe you will get a check, and that check may change and go up every year, whereas your standard star remains the same every year. And a couple of years ago, they changed everything. So anybody who bought a house after 2016 or something, you get a check. It's no longer taken out of the taxes. You will get a rebate check to pay your taxes.
It's called the enhanced star.
Well, even for the regular star, if you after 2016, I believe it was, that they made everybody get a check.
See, we never got a check.
Right. Do you have it taken off of your taxes?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So you wouldn't get a check unless you go in and change that.
Right.
I think if you go do the enhanced star or whatever, but it's a way they said it's a way they do their accounting by either giving you a check or taking off your taxes.
Right.
And they said they save money by sending out a check. And I don't know how they do that, but
Even the cost of the check, sending it out to you?
it's how they do their budgeting and how they balance their money. I don't know, but they said originally that it saves the money by sending out checks. I don't know. Anyway. That's all for me.
Okay. All
I
right.
want to
Very good.
take this opportunity to share something quickly with Rick. We were kind of joking earlier about whether it would be financially advantageous to blind ourselves. And I got a chuckle out of it, but it reminded me that I recently had a brain bubble of some sort. And I wondered if there was such a thing as Braille sheet music. And I looked it up, and darned if there isn't. And it's, I got into, I think, a Wikipedia article about it or something like that. And it is quite complex because it has special, the little 6 bump boxes in Braille. It has special ones for not only the pitch, but the length of the note, the loudness, the tempo, the whole 9 yards. Remarkable. I kind of would work best if you were using an instrument that only required one hand, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking,
Yeah, I think
how are you
that's
going to do
true.
that? Yeah.
But no, I don't think you're gonna. I think what happens is that blind people who get into music just, I mean, their minds are incredible. They learn something and they learn it. You know, I'm reminded of what's the famous jazz pianist's name? Art Tatum.
Errol Gardner. Errol Gardner was blind, and so was Ray Charles.
Right. Yeah. And Art Tatum was a jazz pianist, I guess. I didn't know all that stuff. But anyway.
Alrighty, do we want to take a break?
Sure.
Sure.
All right.
Always.
Yep, take a break. We're going to talk about CES after that, or what?
I'll try to throw something together. I hadn't planned on it because we were doing Tax-Aide, but I'll see. There wasn't really anything Apple specific about it, just gadgets.
I'm trying to think. I should take a quick look at one of the news sources I look at had an article about the coolest things at CES this year.
Yeah, that's what pretty much every news source has. It was all AI and robots was the overwhelming theme. Personal home assistant robots to do your dishes and fold your laundry.
That's what I need.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Walk the dog.
I like the fold the laundry one. That would be nice.
Except it takes like an hour per shirt or some stupid thing like that because they don't want it to go too fast because they might hurt somebody.
An hour per shirt, that's a lot.
Yeah, maybe not quite that much, but a lot longer than you would do it yourself.
I don't know. I'm in the hospital and I can't stand up. So I don't know. It would take me quite a long time to fold a shirt.
Alrighty, why don't we come back in about 10 minutes or so and we'll continue on.
So I'm having charger issues and my charger's not working again. So I'm going to have them charge it at the desk. So I don't know when I'll come and go. I have to.
Here's my notes.
Are we going to go till 10?
With that kind of margin, why not just continue to sell them all online? Yeah, that's incredible.
Well, here's why. As someone who just had a baby, I know that the registry is key.
All right? When you came in,
Because I have to get the charger back and give it. I can't do it every 5 minutes.
The competitor's product is garish and ugly if you don't like bright colors. But it's also half the price of yours, right?
Wait, that's all the best quality foam I could buy.
And is your foam safer than other foam?
We've had our mats tested, and they're safety rated for 0 months plus. They are non-toxic.
That's not why you're buying it. Why you're buying it for the look. If it's true you're buying it for the look, why does the guy that makes the cheap foam just make a bland version? I gotta tell you, Elizabeth, how many families other than the Upper East Side of New York want to spend $150?
So far, 1,000 moms throughout the U.S., and I've been at this for
you
such
don't
a
want to
short
make
amount of
hundreds
time.
of
People love
dollars.
it.
You want to make millions of
I
dollars.
do.
So you have to appeal to a bigger market. That's that's a big number for somebody with a child who has to buy diapers and everything else. But even when I had a playmat, it was my mother found an old refrigerator box.
Kim, are we listening to one TV or two TVs?
I went outside and broke dance on it.
So yes, it's 139, but it's not something you want to immediately get.
I don't think 95% of the country can afford that. I'm out. So Elizabeth, you've done such a great job to get to this point, but you didn't talk anything about doubling down on what's working.
Hello?
That's what I want to know.
They're ridiculous. They always say that, and that's
Elizabeth,
where
have you
you
heard the
have no
story?
Kim, can you please mute yourself?
He was a very great captain.
Can you hear me?
He and his sailors.
Yeah, we hear everything. One or two TVs and you and the whole 9 yards.
One or two TVs. What hospital are you in? I wish. I don't know. No one was hearing me, so I didn't think anyone could hear me. Well, I'll go away.
That's nice.
For something quite as dramatic as a scalpel going into somebody's foot, although it's certainly within the realm of possibility. My name is Dr. Reed Caldwell. I'm the chief of the emergency department at NYU Langone's Hospital in Manhattan, the Perelman Center for Emergency Services. I've been working in EMS or emergency medicine since 1999. Today, we're going to look at scenes from the pit and judge how real they are.
Allergies! You got yourself a fight bite. Well, I am sure you're in the clear for rabies and HIV. Human mouths are filthy.
A fight bite is the wound that occurs when one individual punches another and it strikes their teeth and their mouth. We make sure that the skin is intact and there's no wound. And also because different from some other regular lacerations, like if you cut your hand with a knife making dinner, that's a very different bacterial environment.
According to who?
Market value, according to who? And the assessed value is $170,000.
That was the Zillow estimate.
Bad infection.
I need to determine if the bite extended into the joint space. If it did, you're going to need IV antibiotics and a trip to the OR to see a hand surgeon.
As was demonstrated here, the other part of a fight bite is that you can actually push that bacteria into the joint. So not only do you have a skin infection, but you can also have a joint infection. infection. It's dangerous and a big problem if the infection is in the joint. It can quickly spread and become much worse.
I am going to inject sterile saline. That's great. Your knuckle joint. If it comes spraying back out of the bite wound, we'll know. Ready? There she blows.
The steps in this scene are accurate. I think in most emergency departments, a hand surgeon or orthopedic surgeon would be pretty quickly involved as a consultant.
Well, the biggest thing is to make the virus available. How can they become available if new people keep cutting the line? I'll take my chances.
The violence in healthcare and violence in emergency departments is sharply on the rise. I find this clip incredibly accurate, both just in kind of the general volatility after the patient punched the nurse in a horrifying way. He dropped the AMA form on the ground. AMA means against medical advice. Most patients want to understand what's happening with them. Because patients are frustrated or because other factors in their life are occurring, some elect to leave against medical advice. I give this clip a 9.
What about the rash?
It's more prominent on the lower body, not much on the face. Do you know what this is?
Nope. Resuscitate first, diagnose later.
The thing that immediately jumps out to me is that the patient presents with altered mental status, fever, and rash, and that none of the staff are in appropriate PPE. I would expect them to have N95s on. I would expect them to be in an isolation room. I would expect there to limit the amount of staff to only essential team members at the bedside. So to me, that's a little inaccurate.
You ever seen anything like this before? Nope. Well, that just goes to show you how old I am. This looks like measles.
I don't know exactly how old Dr. Rabi is, but I would guess that he actually isn't old enough to have seen a lot of measles, either personally or professionally. So I found that comment interesting also. With measles, unfortunately, on the rise in the United States, and with the number of serious infections that can present initially as fever rash, we are really sensitive to listen for that and to look for that. For us in the emergency department, the key to measles is immediate recognition and isolation. There's very little around that's more contagious than measles, so we need to be sure that patients are immediately placed in appropriate isolation spaces, and we protect ourselves and our team with the correct PPE.
Spinal tap?
I've read about kids who've been paralyzed from a spinal tap.
There is zero risk of paralysis.
The fear of paralysis from a lumbar puncture is something we hear quite often. It is a safe procedure. We do not put the needle in the spinal cord. We are putting the needle into the spinal column, which houses the fluid that we need to sample.
For the umbilicus? Oh, about to pop. That's the supraspinous ligament. Enter slowly. Next pop is the ligamentum flavum.
Lumbar puncture is a procedure where a needle is introduced into the patient's lower spine. We put it in just far enough to reach the spinal canal, which is connected to the patient's brain. Cerebral spinal fluid. Lumbar puncture can be utilized to quickly rule in or rule out a number of different infections that impact or affect the brain and spinal cord and can present as fever and or rash and or altered mental status. And that can present as measles. However, in this case, they're also ruling out meningitis.
Looks clear.
That's good, right?
Coming out now.
See if we can get everybody back in.
Steve, I had an interesting experience recently. I don't remember what I was in. I was on my MacBook. I'm pretty sure in Chrome. I went to an article, and I must have clicked on the wrong part of the screen or something. This full screen thing came up saying that Microsoft Defender had detected something wrong with my computer and gave me a helpful phone number to call.
Yep.
Which I did not, of course, but.
Yeah, those are usually just malicious ads that pop open
Right.
something full screen. You don't even have to click on anything. The website you went to had an infected ad.
Okay.
If we joke that the bad guys are lazy. If they'd have taken an extra couple of minutes, they could have made it say Apple Defender detected.
Right. Right. The other thing is I did finally upgrade to Mac OS 26, and so far everything is quite tolerable, except that the dumb dock background is now a fairly deep gray, and the dots under the open apps are black. So it's a little hard for me to see those. But what I do now is when I go to close out of any apps I have open, after I do that, I just do the 3-finger push for what's it, expose, and it says no open windows, and I'm cool.
Mm-hmm. You know? They've added more accessibility options to turn off a lot of the transparencies.
I know you've talked about those at least a couple of times, and I don't notice. I mean, I really don't notice whether I'm getting the liquid glass effect much on the Mac.
A lot depends on what your background picture is. Some of them, if you have a busy background, it can be tough seeing through the transparent controls.
Yeah, I don't have anything on my home screen or whatever it is, the desktop screen. I have that old Galaxy image.
Oh, yeah, Andromeda, I think it was.
No, whatever. But at any rate, that is, I find that restful and relaxing and whatnot, and I don't seem to have any trouble seeing, because actually it seems to me like the folders that show on that screen are, if anything, more opaque. The folders themselves. So anyway, so far so good. I don't know whether I should bother to, and I'm not going to ask you to look this up now. I know that there are places you can look at whether a new OS is compatible with your device, but I'm running probably iOS 15 on my iPads, and the phone was new last year, so although it probably would go to 26, I have a feeling maybe that's the one that would bother me, and I can't decide whether to do that.
If it's compatible, it will offer it.
In other words, it just go to software update in any of them. And,
yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really,
I hate to be a kvetch here, but I'm often getting that hollow wind tunnel sound or something when from your tile on the screen when it lights up and there's a kind of dull roaring noise. I don't know why.
I was getting it from Shirley.
Yes, surely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Is it me? I don't know
Well,
why. There's nothing on.
I know we've talked about this before. So it's happened in every meeting lately, and you always say that. So I don't know what the heck is doing it.
Turn the fan off. See if that does it.
The fan's not even on, so it's just.
It is on. I can see it spinning.
But it's very low. It's not even going fast, so there shouldn't have been any noise from it. Like I said, there's nothing in here except maybe a little hum of the refrigerator. I don't know.
Well, I wonder whether, just for grins, could you turn the fan off for a moment? Because I wonder if there's something that it's able to induce into your mic or whatever electronically that you wouldn't hear. You know what I mean?
Just turn the light off. That's the easiest way.
Okay.
And then she'll be sitting in the dark, which, okay.
Well, which I don't want, but.
Nope, it's still there.
Yep, it's still there. You can turn the light on again. Well, yeah, it is. It's still there. Don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Steve?
Like I said, the only other noise I hear is there's a little hum from the refrigerator.
You should try.
Because I can hear that.
You should try using the headphones too. Yeah. That's all right.
I'll just mute myself. That's all.
Did I hear someone else call my name?
Yes. I was asked. I'm sorry.
Go
is
ahead,
it
Linda.
okay to update to Tahoe?
Functionally, yes. You do need to check your third-party apps to make sure they're compatible, but pretty much everything is now. The big issue is the transparency effects that a lot of people don't like, but you can turn a lot of them off now.
Okay.
In 26.2, they've added more reduced transparency options, and I think 26.3 is going to have even more.
Okay, so I wonder if any of those options are on by default, because the version I upgraded to was 26.2.
Yeah, I don't know.
And like I say,
I've got my reduced transparency turned on. If I turn that off, oh, everything's way too transparent. No. I actually found, it died. Oh, I have to restart it. I found a program that gives you the colored Apple logo back. The multicolor, 6-color Apple logo. It's called Logoer. Logoer.
I always liked that one.
Yeah. They've been boring on the last decades now.
So, Steve, I had a question regarding what you were talking about, apps being compatible. For the longest time, I've been doing the New York Times crossword puzzle on the New York Times Games app. And I've just been alerted that they're upgrading their side of it, and that I've got to upgrade my software at least to version 18 on my iPhone. Trouble is, I'm using an iPhone 8, and it is up to date at iOS 16.7.12. Is there any workaround that I would still be able to use the New York Times Games app?
It depends if they shut down the old game or not, which it sounds like they're probably going to.
Yeah. They didn't say that, but they just said I must have at least version 18.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there any workaround?
Buy a new phone, or buy a used phone, a newer used phone.
I keep hearing advertisements about, you can get a free iPhone if you turn in your old one or something. Is that really true?
Yes, but a lot of the times they charge you full price, and then over 2 or 3 years refund you back the credit. So at the end of 3 years, it turns out to have been free.
Oh, it doesn't work the other way around.
No.
Huh. Yeah, you're referring to buying phones from a phone
from a carrier,
a cell carrier provider.
You got to make sure the fine print. Yeah.
That's not something that MacApp does.
We sell phones outright, so it's full price.
And if I trade in my old one?
Depends if there's an Apple trade-in value for it.
Well, I don't know what that might be for an iPhone 8. It's the rare earth metals that are important, I think.
Apple has a trade-in website you can look at.
Oh. Now, do you basically match whatever the Apple Store does on this regard?
We can't, because we don't.
Okay.
Apple, nobody can match the Apple Store. Because they don't let you, basically.
Oh.
Well, yeah, you can lose all the money you want if you want to match them. So if I go back in actually, let me do this in Chrome so I can show everybody. Which tab is it? This tab. Share this tab instead. So if we go to Apple's website, way down at the bottom is trade-in somewhere. There it is, Apple trade-in. And there's different trade-ins for each class of product. And so if I go to, phone. All right, so we're on phone. So find your trade-in. And Apple. Basically if you say at any other vendor, it says, hey, you can recycle it. So we'll say Apple, and then we'll go back and back and back. Oh, they're still doing trading in for a long, back to the 5 even. So if we say, is it an 8 or 8 plus?
Probably plus. It's the large size. I think that's plus, right?
Everything is okay on it?
Yeah. It's working fine.
So they'll give you $50 toward a new phone or $40 gift card.
Oh, wow. Which is about 5% of what it costs otherwise.
Well, the 16E is the least expensive phone at the moment, and that starts.
I think mine.
That starts
I think mine is plus. I think mine is 8 plus.
Okay. So they have a compare option, so you can put your phone in. 8 plus, and we can compare that against the 16E. Or the 17. So look, the screen size is about the same, it looks like. No, all the new phones have a bigger screen. So your screen.
I have the largest that was available at the time.
Yep, your screen is 5.5. The 16E is 6.1, and the 17 is 6.3. And the 16E starts at $599, and the 17 starts at $799.
And so getting a Mac app has to be full price. If I go to Verizon, they meld it into the monthly bill.
Right. Phone deals. I think I saw one the other day where they give you up to 4 free phones.
Yeah, but you got to buy 4 lines, right?
Right. So, mom, dad, and 2 kids is sort of how they usually do it. So they'll sometimes have even older phones. So they've got the 16E, they've got the 16. So yeah, you can go with them. Let's see, can we find yeah, so they're going to charge you $5.99 and give you a $16.66 credit every month. So after 3 years of playing with your money, they'll have paid you back the $600.
No, is that a Verizon website you're quoting?
Yes.
Yeah, I bought this one full price at Mac Ave. It's just I'm trying to figure out how to achieve it, and I suppose if I have to replace it, I may as well just get the very newest, like I did before.
Well, there's 4 different models to choose from depending on size and price. Let's go back here. Go back one more. No, back.
Do you have reservations about the very latest that I should take into account?
It may do more than you need. Do you shoot commercial videos?
No, but I take huge amount of photographs, and I've got archived over 100,000.
So the iPhone Pro has the best camera.
And I've been amazed at the sharpness on the new camera, the new iPhones compared to mine.
Yep.
I thought mine was fine, but there is better.
Color is an option. If you want an orange, you have to get the 17 Pro.
Oh.
So each of the models have different colors available.
I like blue.
Well, there's a sky blue in the Air and a mist blue in the 17.
Oh, wow. 17 is the latest version.
Well, there are 4 models. There's the 17,
Okay.
17 Pro, 17 Pro Max, and Air.
Ah. Huh.
So the Air has 1 camera, the 17 has 2 cameras, and the 17 Pro has 3 cameras.
None of those can be used for stereo views, though.
Yes, they can.
Oh. Huh.
But the interocular distance isn't as great as your eyes, so the
Right.
stereo effect is... And you need an Apple Vision to be able to see the stereo pictures.
I think 2.5 inches would be the standard interocular distance.
Something like that, yeah. Now, there is a new camera out. Let's see. Everyone is... It's finally made it out. Oh, I'm not going to be able to find who makes it. Is it Black Magic? Probably. And now that it's out, people... there we go, the Ursa. So that's the camera all the pros are using for creating 3D immersive video. Yours for only $32,995. But if you're on a photo shoot, you can rent it for like probably $500 a day.
And the stereo effect is basically for video, not for still photos.
Right.
Ah.
One of the things at CES this year was a 3D TV that claims to not need glasses.
Huh.
We went through 3D TV a long time ago, and it never caught on because no one wanted to wear the glasses. So now somebody says they've created a TV that doesn't need glasses. But I haven't read the full reviews, but typically it only works when you're dead center in front of it. When you're off to the side, it may not work as cleanly.
So that must be an anamorphic system then.
It might be, yeah.
Because that's true of the 2-color old-fashioned 3D movies. You tilt your head slightly and you get a headache.
Yeah, there were the red, green, blue glasses.
Yes.
And then there were then there were the active shutter glasses. They were too expensive. Now most of the 3D movies use polarizing glasses. So one eye has a vertical polarizer and the other eye has a horizontal polarizer.
Well, I like the idea of alternate frames blocked alternately through glasses.
Yeah.
I think that's the most flexible. I think that's what IMAX uses.
Oops.
So I also collect antique stereoptic views, and so that's why I was asking about the concept of being able to create new ones using a modern camera.
Yep.
Douglas, have you ever taken, I don't know what you call the cards that go with the stereopticons, but I found that if I take just the card without whatever the viewer was, and I move it up close to my eyes and then move it away and try to look at the middle of the three, there'll be a third image that forms in the middle that will be in 3D.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's fun. I I very rarely run into one of those cards because they're not unless you're a collector like people don't have them, but it's kind of fun to.
Ran out of battery.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to try that. I had not known about that idea.
It's kind of funny looking because you've got three images, but in the middle one is the 3D meld of the two side ones.
Huh. That's as if that had been taken with just a single camera in the first place. It melds.
I didn't know how that whole system worked. That's roughly turn of the 20th century, isn't it?
Well, yeah, or earlier into the 19th century, but basically it had two cameras with an interocular centers at 2.5 inches. Two cameras.
Yep. And the card has those two images.
Yes.
But I don't know what the viewer had some kind of clip you put the card in, right? And then a stick that held it out away from your eyes or something.
That's correct. And on that stick, you can move the cards back and forth to get it focused properly.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and they're a lot of fun. And you can see, late 19th century views of Rochester in 3 dimensions.
Right. Yeah. I agree. They're pretty cool. I like them.
I think I played with one at the Eastman House on a tour.
Not surprising.
And I can see the concept of applying artificial intelligence to those still images and creating variations that can simulate motion.
The Samsung monitor that they introduced says it uses eye tracking to see where your eyes are looking so that it can change the perspective of the 3D.
Oh. What's the company that does that?
It's the Samsung Odyssey.
Oh.
No pricing yet. It's a 6K monitor with 1,000 hertz refresh rate, so I'm guessing god awful expensive. Let me see. Search for $.
And they use LCD for the refreshing. They just alternate.
It says it's an OLED.
Oh. I didn't know what the decay rate and refresh rate for OLEDs are. I know they've finally gotten the LCDs down to a usable rate.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pushing high hertz on most of their models.
Hmm.
So they have a 240 hertz refresh, but that was only 4K.
Yeah, you got to have it fast, or else it'll be blurry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things that I keep hearing on some of the podcasts I listen to. Even with the Apple Vision, you need 8K 120 hertz per eye to make it truly immersive. But then you got to worry about motion sickness because it's truly immersive. Yeah, so that was one of the big things at CES. Let me see.
May I just cut in here very briefly with a little tidbit of information for Linda? I just looked, and the Tahoe I upgraded to is 26.2, and the what the heck is it? Reduce transparency switch was on by default, and I have no problem with the way the screen looks.
Yeah, I finally uploaded the club's computer once I made sure that the OBS broadcaster worked. Yeah, so lots of home. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Usually, you tell us not to do it immediately, and
yeah, the 26.0 let other people find the problems. 0.1 is usually a good bug fix. The 0.2 is usually safe.
Okay,
Make sure you
thank
have
you.
a backup first, just in case.
Oh, I do, yes. Thank you, Charlie.
Welcome.
Yeah, a lot of companies were showing off robot vacuum cleaners, and humanoid robots. I don't know if that one fell over accidentally. Um, one of the I don't know if this is going to have a picture of it. One of the robots, robot vacuum cleaners, had little wheeled legs that would come out so it could climb stairs. There was one that had an arm so it could pick up socks or something about the same weight um, on on the ground and get it out of the way of the vacuuming. All the horror stories about the robot vacuum cleaner getting caught up on cat poop or dog poop and then pushing it all around the house as it cleans, leaving brown trails everywhere. Everything had
What
AI included now. That's the
what
new
I need
buzzword.
is what I need is one that won't vacuum up my earrings that drop on
Yeah.
the floor. It's sort of the opposite of the picking up big stuff.
Yep. Solid state batteries are starting to come out. I remember probably 10 years ago, David Pogue did a thing on that where he actually could cut a battery in half with scissors and it didn't explode. It just cut down on the amount of power it was putting into the iPad. So it makes batteries a lot safer. Let's see. Yeah, we talking about this with a customer today. Black Friday, you could get like an 80-inch 4K television for under $500, and the high end Sony and Samsung and LG, selling them for thousands of dollars as they're coming down. Partly because new technology comes out so fast, you don't want to pay $3,000 for a Sony, and then next year it's old. Let's see the Verge. I found an article from CNET doing CES. An AI collar for your dog to monitor location, sleep temperature. So all the health data that our watches are recording for us, you can now record for your pets.
Is anybody doing TV rentals?
There used to be Rent-A-Center.
Oh, okay.
Are they
I
still
mean,
around?
because rather than rent to own type thing, given the rate of obsolescence, I think there might be some kind of market for that.
One of the problems with the rental companies is that they charge so much rent.
Might as well buy it.
Rent-A-Center still does TVs. The rent was so high, 65-inch TV for $20 a week.
Oh yeah, might as well buy it, I think.
Yeah. $98-inch TV for $45 a week. 98-inch. That was one of the things. Is that going to be in this list? Yeah, here we go. 130-inch TV. Of course, there's no prices. One of the things about CES in January is it's usually stuff that might make it to Christmas. And I'm on the wrong tab. Here we are. Share this tab. 130-inch TV. You need a really big room for that. And so things that might make it to Christmas, sometimes they're things that they just prototyped, and if they get enough interest in it, they might go to production with it. Sometimes they don't. We're still waiting for the robot last year that would go fetch you a new roll of toilet paper when you needed it. If you don't look before you sit down.
Do they have any updated versions of Google Glass?
Meta's coming out with a couple of new glass glasses. Nope, that's not the wrong one. Nope, nothing there. I don't know if they were showing anything at CES. Let me look. So they have, yeah, the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. So they have a bunch of different glasses. What we want as AR glasses, not the VR environment of Apple Vision. Well, Apple Vision Pro, I got to keep remembering to say. What I think is going to happen is they're going to come out with an Apple Vision that doesn't have the freaky eyes in the front and is like half the price or less. It doesn't need to be the Pro model to do everything super whiz-bang. But this has a, let's see. Is there an example of what it looks like from the front? It basically projects a small image in your eye, so it looks like a large screen. How does it work? There we are. I'm going to show. Yeah, so you see a floating image in front of you because it's projected in as a tiny image on your glasses themselves. And if you wear prescription lenses, you can get custom glasses ordered that have that prescription in it.
I have astigmatism. They can probably correct for that.
Yeah, probably. If you can get prescription glasses that work, it should.
So it's projected onto the glasses lens, and those are kind of a substitute retina that then sends
your retina,
digital pixels.
Well, your retina sees that projected screen, but because it's so close, it looks very large.
Okay, the eyeglass.
Eventually,
the
we
eyeglass
may have
lenses.
something that broadcasts right into your eye, but not yet.
Okay. The eyeglass lenses are simply glass. They don't have a reprojector inside.
Right, the projector is in the frame.
In the frame, and then it projects into the glass.
Yep.
And then that's what is picked up by the eyes and retina.
Right, your eye sees that, yeah.
Boy, there's a lot of distortion correction that'll have to be involved that way.
Yep. And, let's see, controls. So maybe I was incorrect. It does. Maybe the projector is in the lens. It's not in the frame projecting on the glasses. The glasses themselves are the screen.
That would make more technological sense. Yeah.
Factor just solved my boring dinner problem. With over 100 weekly options, I never have to eat the same thing twice.
Futuristic and most interesting new product that they announced. And the main reason for that is because unlike the other Meta Wayfarers, this pair of glasses actually has a screen in the lens. Rather than just controlling this with your voice through Meta AI or swiping on the sides of the glasses or something like that, you're actually able to see the viewfinder in your camera, a literal GPS map of where you're going, the album art for the music. If you get sent a reel, you can of course use WhatsApp because that's owned by Meta. You can use Spotify because I guess they have some sort of part. I was able to walk around and try all the different features like taking photos, taking videos. While yes, there are a lot of cool things that you can do with these glasses, it's still a relatively limited pair of glasses that do transition from indoor glasses to outdoor glasses. But now let's talk about how these differ. And the first.
So we're moving toward the science fiction trope of those glasses. Where the what was the author? There was a book where every person you see has their social score pop up over their head, and you can see their name, and then the pocket computer, your phone, looks up their name, tells you how you know them, if you know them, where their kids are, who's in school, and so how's your wife doing? Did she get over that the broken leg? And that's the trope we want.
But isn't that the movie with Tom Cruise, Minority Report? He had glasses on that advertised to him as he walked down
Yep.
a shopping mall. And that was like what, 10, 15 years ago, that movie? 20?
Well, and even that's been the sci-fi trope for years. And then Minority Report used precogs to detect crime. There's a new movie coming out with Chris, one of the Chris's.
Chris Pratt?
Yeah, where you basically get arrested and you have 24 hours to prove your innocence of a pre-crime. Mercy, that's the name of it.
And what you were describing, Steve, about all the data that these glasses can put in front of your eyes would be terrific for a political candidate going door to door. Each door that he knocks on, he'd have all the data to let the person that answers the door think, oh, I know your family so well. It's great. They could really achieve great rapport with that device.
They have all that on printout already, but not needing to memorize it all would be handy.
Yeah, or not looking at it like it's a script and looking up and down at the person who answers the door. It's they think you knew it all already.
Oh, that's Chimney from 911 too. The other thing that is interesting that just flew out of my head when I recognized the Chimney. One guy I heard said he gets over the fact that he may not remember somebody's name by saying, "Where do you work now? Give me your new business card," and so he can see his name and his business card and jog your memory on where they know that person from.
Well, with facial recognition built into that system too, that's another approach.
Yep.
I usually just ask people, well, what's new with you?
Yeah.
And that often gives many clues.
It would be great for those people with Alzheimer's who can't remember anything.
Yeah.
Sure.
Although there was a story about Wegmans was starting to use facial recognition, and everyone went nuts, and so they say, well, now maybe we won't do that.
I think they were using a biometric with the retina, I believe. That seems pretty difficult to capture just on a casual walkthrough by somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong about the detail.
Well, at Whole Foods, they have so many cameras around that you don't have to. Has anyone been to Whole Foods? I don't know if they do it here in Rochester. So many cameras around that they know what you bought, what you picked up, and they just bill your Amazon account, and you walk out the door with no cashier. So with the Wegmans here in Parrington has the shopping carts where you scan and bag your groceries as you go, which is a little annoying because every time I reposition something, it says, "Did you add a box?" It must have a scale in it because you pick up something and move it, and it thinks you added another one. Yeah, so they're using facial recognition to identify people that have been banned from the store, flagged for misconduct. They don't collect retinal scans or voice prints, just faces.
How about just try to be more helpful to people instead of try to catch them?
Yep.
Do it. Gotcha.
And here, it's not just Wegmans, it's a lot of stores. Macy's is doing it, according to this company. The Gothamist, is that Gotham
do they
City?
do they have a sign posted that says they are doing it when you enter the store?
Well, here's the one that Macy's
they're supposed
shows,
to,
but they probably do at Wegmans, and it's a prominent, visible sign that no one notices because no one reads signs.
Probably. I'm gonna look for it now.
Yeah. I don't know if they're doing it here yet. Maybe only their most stolen stores?
Well, they
I
just
think
closed all
Wegmans
the ones
claims they're
stolen.
doing it at a couple of the local stores.
A small fraction of the stores. And if they don't say which ones, then the thieves won't be able to avoid those stores.
Mhm.
I guess I'll have to accept it, or I guess I'll go to a new store. But
Or wear a mask.
yeah, never in my life would I thought I'd wear a mask, go into the bank, and ask for money.
During COVID, it was required that you wear a mask at a bank.
Yep. All right, CES highlights for Apple users. Let's see if there's anything specifically. Oh yeah, a lot of HomeKit and Matter integration. So the home automation market is trying to grow. There's now a new technology called Matter, which is sort of a unifier of every 4 or 5 other technologies that other companies were trying to use. And so if you get a Matter device, it works with any other Matter device. There are continual rumors that Apple's coming out with a new Home Hub accessory, like an iPad that you hang on your wall, and it can control your home automation stuff. And it will be Matter. Multi-chargers, high wattage chargers are getting popular now, so you can do fast charging. Yeah, a company showed a overlay where you can add a touch screen to your existing computer, which is interesting. And there was there was a company that offered dual side monitors that it stuck to the back of your main laptop display, and then they pulled out to the side to give you 3 big monitors. So you could use it as either 3 separate monitors or one big monitor. Yeah, there's a lot of rumors about a new entry-level MacBook using an iPhone chip with a smaller screen than the current 13.6, so 13.0 or 12.9. This rumor is saying in the $599 or $699 range. So basic home use, web surfing, and photos and things in a lower price tier than the $999 MacBook Air currently. Although even a lot of Walmart and Amazon are selling the $999 model for like $799, and Walmart has the M1 MacBook Air for like $499. And so if you have, you don't need, and even the M1 is still really fast, and it's great for home use. So that sort of starts competing with an iPad. A lot of people who just need, they want something for web surfing and looking at photos, are getting an iPad. $349 is great for an entry-level iPad, but then if you want to add a keyboard to it, now it's bigger and heavier. So that's where an actual laptop can come in handy. And so we're all for lowering the price of a laptop. Somebody on one show was saying it might be trying to compete in the Chromebook arena. And I really doubt that, because most of the Chromebooks are in the $100 to $200 range. You get up into $300 to $400 Chromebooks, and now you're starting in the entry-level Windows laptops. But for the average person, an iPad or a Chromebook is all they really need, and it has got web surfing and mail and photos and lots and lots of apps, but the security level on it is a lot higher, and so it's a lot safer for home users. You'll still get the fake pop-up ads like Charlie got, but it can't really do anything on your computer. But enough people are getting tricked by it that they call the phone number and let people in. There was just a report, it was on Security Now. A little old couple in Australia got taken for over $1 million because the fake tech support, which started as a your McAfee needs to be updated message, fake tech support spent months grooming them into, let us into your computer, we'll fix this, we got to do this, we got to do that, taking little bits of money here and there until they ended up finally getting into the bank account and taking their entire life savings, over $1 million. But they had built up enough trust by then that the people thought they were talking to real McAfee, because McAfee's a name people know. So the bad guys trend on that type of thing. Here's some of the robot videos. It says no. Robot Robo Rock. Actually, that was something on This Week in Tech they've talked about. iRobot and the Roomba sort of created the market, but they have woefully been left behind by many other companies who offer a much better product at a much lower price. And so this company, Roborock, has legs to climb stairs. So you don't have to get one for each of the floors of your apartment. Here's from Apple Insider. We can see what they like. Add Dolby Atmos to your car. So if you want to have immersive audio in your car while you're driving, pay attention to the road. Let's see. Oh, a little stand. So a lot of people, most of the time, your cell phone camera is better than the 1080 camera in your laptop. And Apple has made it easy to use your cell phone as a camera, but it's not easy to hold it up there. So there's a method to hold up your phone behind your camera. No, hold up your phone camera behind your laptop.
There you go.
Let's see.
That recent shooting in Minnesota, Minneapolis, where the guy had a portable cell phone in his left hand and shot the woman in her right hand. Did you ever see what kind of phone he was holding?
No, I didn't.
Just curiously interesting as a trivia item.
Matter-enabled smart locks are getting common. So a lock on your door, you walk up to the door and it knows it's you and unlocks and lets you in. Amazon tried that for a while. I don't know if they still sell their smart lock. To combat porch pirates, your Amazon Alexa can unlock the door to let the Amazon delivery person in and then lock the door behind them. And apparently there were too many reports about delivery people wandering around houses and snooping where they shouldn't. Same thing with car trunks. You can have your package delivered to you at work and put it in the car trunk if you have a trunk that can auto open. But who's going to trust that, right? A lot of kitchen appliances. Everything is smart home connected now. So you can none of this setting a timer for your coffee to start in the morning, and then you wake up and it's been there for 3 hours. You can actually, once you wake up, you push a button on your phone before you get out of bed, and the coffee will start. So it'll be fresh and ready by the time you get down there.
I could see that very well.
Fender Audio is what it's a huge name in amplifiers and speakers. They have a retro speaker box now. So it's not the sleek Bluetooth speakers that we're used to. It's an old, looks like a Fender amp. What else was interesting? So a little tiny keyboard attaches to your phone, so you can do better typing. I don't know if that's any better with physical keys than actually typing on the on-screen keyboard. Oh yeah, Withings has scales that will tweet your weight to like social media to give you an incentive to lose weight by body shaming you, I guess. A lot of mobile game controllers. So it used to be CES for a few years. They jokingly called it the iPhone accessory store or a show because like whole buildings were filled with just iPhone accessories. That's kind of died down a little bit. That the market is saturated. Let's see what 9 to 5 liked. Did anyone go to CES? It's usually Tom Myers is the one that goes. Yeah, there's the clicks again. They liked that. I don't know, $80? That seems expensive for a slide-out keyboard.
Those keys look pretty small to me.
Yep. An itty-bitty 45-watt charger. Let's see. Custom screen protectors with your favorite sports teams. .52-inch Dell 6K display with Thunderbolt. Yeah, the iPhone Fold. So Samsung showed off their new tri-fold phone, and so everyone's saying Apple doesn't even have a single fold yet, and Samsung's got a tri-fold out. But they were showing off this new folding display, probably, and touting how creaseless it is, which is probably going to be the phone, this display used on the iPhone Fold, which may or may not be released this year. But there was one report, is it in here, that after showing it off for a while, it kind of got disappeared. And so here's a typical folding screen, and you can see the crease. Where on this new Samsung, you can't see the crease. Maybe somebody from Apple came out and said you better not be showing that because we have full production of it.
Now, what do you mean by fold? Is that like a flip phone that uses both components for the two pages, or what?
Well, it's got one screen that folds in half to make it smaller, and then you fold it open to make it bigger.
Oh.
A lot of people are saying that the iPhone Air, which is so thin, is easily set up to be one half of a folding phone. So you put two iPhone Airs together, and when you close them, it's not as thick as even a regular phone. So that's been the problem with a lot of folding phones. Is once you fold them, they're so thick, it doesn't really save any room in your pocket. So if we look at the Z Fold is the Samsung product. So they're on the 7th generation of their folding phone. Are you going to scroll so I can see the picture of the phone? Yeah, so there's the phone folding in half. So when it's folded, it's really thin. And when you unfold it, find a picture of it unfolded, it's pretty big. So it's got a standard phone screen on the outside, and then when you unfold it, you get the bigger screen on the inside. Are they going to show, there's an animation, are they going to show it opening? Yeah, well, half open. What a stupid animation. Nope. So they don't want to show it all the way opening. Exit window, yes. Let me see images. So there's the new there. So there's one. So it folds open and then looks more like a tablet. So that's one thing that we think maybe Apple wouldn't release it for, is it may cannibalize iPad sales. Because if you have a folding phone, you don't need to buy an iPad. Or if you take like the 13-inch iPad, and if it can fold down into a 7.5-inch tablet, that would be kind of neat too. All right, there was a couple of things in the Apple hot news I wanted to talk about. New games. There it is, Apple Card. So if you have an Apple Card, it has been processed by Goldman Sachs. Chase is now taking that over, but it may take about 2 years for that to happen. Apparently nothing is going to change at your end, and it will still be a MasterCard, but the back end is going to be processed by Chase. Somehow Goldman Sachs lost several $billion processing Apple's credit card, which is ridiculous for a credit card company. But Apple doesn't charge any usage fees, no late fees. They just charge the regular percent of the balance. And give you 3% cash back, up to 3% cash back. So that does mean that everyone who has an Apple Card may be getting a new physical card. Will my card information change? And they'll let you know later. Do I need a new physical card? They'll let you know later. So it looks like the whole thing is they'll let you know later. Yeah, no annual fees, no late fees, no foreign transaction fees, just the regular interest on a credit card. Which is a ridiculous amount of money for the credit cards to make anyway. So how could they lose? How could Goldman Sachs lose so much data? Lose so much money? All right, let's go back. Apple Fitness expanding. Where's the F1 announcement? So F1, the movie, came to Apple streaming last month, and they've also announced that F1 racing is going to be free on Apple TV. That was the other confusion now. So Apple renamed Apple TV Plus to Apple TV. So now we have the Apple TV box, set-top box. We have the Apple TV app that you run on your computers. We have the Apple TV website. We have the Apple TV app that runs on third-party televisions. And then we have the Apple TV streaming service with all the extra TV shows on it. Just to make things more confusing. So if we do...
So there's no Apple TV Plus, it's just Apple TV?
They're renaming it, yeah. And when you do your updates to OS 26.1, I think it is, and occasionally it still says TV Plus on their branding.
Well, that's very confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, because I use the Apple TV streaming.
Yep. Well, they kind of likened it to nobody else uses Plus. There's Disney Plus and AMC Plus and History Plus, and everyone just says, I'm going to watch it on Disney. But to differentiate the streaming service from the box and the app, so you do need a subscription to Apple TV service, which then gets you all the other stuff that Apple TV has. but they're going to be carrying all the F1 races. The problem is most of the F1 races are in Europe, and they happen in the middle of the night, our time. And so it's one of those issues where you won't be able to watch the news before you watch the race on delay, because the winners will be announced in the news. There are a couple of races in the U.S. There was a big one in Las Vegas last year. In fact, there was a funny thing where the F1, Las Vegas Grand Prix, F1 was trying to prevent people from watching the race unless they subscribed to the F1 TV channel. But people were able to just look out the window of their hotels and see the cars go. Vroom. But you can't see the whole race. So Miami, Austin, Texas, and Las Vegas. They used to do F1 racing in Watkins Glen, but they don't anymore. So those are only the three races that will be at a relatively reasonable time, our time. Alrighty, anybody have any questions? Let's move into some quick Q&A, and then we'll call it a night.
I don't have any questions, but I'm going to have to leave. So I appreciate the meeting, especially the tax stuff.
Sure. Are you going to be able to do Saturday?
I doubt it. I'm going to be out of town again.
Okay.
Maybe it'll be probably in the springtime sometime, I would assume.
All right.
Okay, be well.
Yep, have a nice day. Bob, yep.
On the iPhone, I was trying to add some favorites, and it wouldn't take. Is there a limited number of favorites that can be on a phone? So I have to delete one before I could add one?
I didn't think so. Were you getting an error message?
Not even that. The plus sign in the upper left corner did not appear at all, which is the first step in adding a favorite.
Is it contact favorites or website favorites?
Contact, call, or text message.
Looks like you can have 50 favorite contacts.
I don't even think it's that many, maybe 20 or 30. So then all I have to do is on the favorites menu, just find it quickly and touch it. Even if there's 7 different numbers for the same person, it's only the one favorite number that I got.
Mm-hmm. You can have 50,000 contacts.
Yeah. I have about 3,000 contacts myself, yes. Which is why I like the concept of favorites.
And that doesn't give me the link. So here, let me see. 50 favorites. Let's see what that link is and where they got that number from. That's the one problem with AI generated is you don't necessarily see where it came from. Yeah, the number of favorite contacts is 50. If you have that, you don't even get a plus sign. I've never tried favoriting that many. Let me see how many favorites I have. List. Oh, I don't even see my favorites list. Do I have none? And I use VIPs for family members, but that's an email. So if I go in, this is the same thing in the computer. If I pick a person, hit the plus. No, that makes a new contact, so it must only be on the phone. Contacts. Pick a contact. I don't see a plus. I just see an add to favorites. Oh, okay. You're on an old OS, you said. OS 16. 14. So that may be a lower limit.
I just counted. I have 46.
So you found the limit.
Well, I guess that is the limit, I guess.
Yeah.
So now if I delete one of those to create space, I'm only deleting the favorite status. I'm not deleting the contact itself on that number.
Right. Yeah, newer OSs, it also has a star icon.
Yes, that's what I have, a 5-point star.
Yep. To mark it as a favorite.
Yes. And it shows up on the regular contacts list, which is the favorite with the star.
So you're supposed to ask Siri to call somebody by name, and then you don't need to have any contact favorites. And then it will get the wrong name and call the wrong person.
Well, for a single person, I would have their mobile number, their business number. There'd be a fax number under that too.
It would ask them ask you which number you want to call. So you could add that to the query. You know, call Bob at home. We used to joke about that at college. If you scream into a room, "Hey Siri, call mom," at least half the phones would start calling mom, and you'd have to let it go through, because if you canceled on mom, she'd call back thinking there was a problem. Looks like Apple Messaging. Well, that's 32 people in a single message. In an iMessage, 20 people in a single text message. But that's not favorites, that's just messages.
And sometimes when I want to send a photograph with a text message, it does not go through. But it will go through if I send the photograph and then the text message, the verbal message.
Yeah, mixing text and pictures can be rough. Well, no, you probably don't have RCS. Text messages are limited to very low-res graphics, so it has to convert your JPEG down to, what is it, a 3GP, so that it can fit through a text. If you're sending an iMessage, then it doesn't have that limit.
Now, what would be the difference between those two on my phone?
Text messages are green and iMessages are blue.
Oh. I thought the color related to what kind of telephone the recipient has.
Kinda. Blue messages have to be an Apple device, but green are text messages that could be Apple or non-Apple devices. It depends if the person has set up iMessage or not. Yeah, images are limited to 600 by 600 pixels. So it has to downgrade everything to that size.
So if I want to send a photograph, it's much better through email.
Or to send an iMessage, a blue contact. Now on the newer OSs, when did iOS use rich communication systems? The newer OSs, OS 18, they added rich communication services, which uses the internet instead of the cellular subband, so it can use higher quality pictures as well.
So
but
if
that's
I go to my photo app and I see a photograph, I'd like to send it to somebody. How do I know whether I should send it to an iMessage or a text message?
when you
what would be the difference?
When you address it, the person's address will show up in blue if it's an iMessage, or green if it's a text message.
Oh, and I cannot control which it would be.
No. The other end has to set themselves as as iMessage if they have an Apple device.
Okay, so it's blue if it's a iMessage.
Right. That goes through the internet. The green text messages go through the carrier sub frequency.
Oh.
So let's see, our CS image size limit. About 2 megs or 8K pixels.
Back on the other, when I am in the contacts list and I find the person that I want to send add to favorites, scrolling down to the bottom, it says the phrase add to favorites.
Mm-hmm.
But in my case, nothing was happening. I don't know if that's just equivalent to the plus sign on the favorites page.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
And let's see. And each OS may have a slightly different screen. Yeah, so plus sign to add to favorite. Alrighty, anybody else have a question?
I always learn so much from you. I appreciate that.
I have a question.
Sure, Kim.
I've had charger spray in the past from having them on my stomach when I'm lying down sick. But this one's an off-brand one my friend gave me, and it's weird. Like, I plug it in, it doesn't say it's charging, but then it was charging the phone anyway. And so I kind of forgot about it, and like today I've got it plugged in, then all of a sudden it didn't charge, and now it's not charging. So, and it's not flared or anything wrong with it, and it had been charging, but now it's just not charging. So do you know anything about this one?
It could be the charger, it could be the cable, it could be the socket in your phone. So the only way to test it is to change one of them and see what happens.
Nothing else has changed. And then as far as it's been plugged in the same outlet, plugged in the same phone, as far as that goes.
Is the phone by any chance already completely charged?
No. No. It's at 18% now. That's why I had to go again. I had to have them charge it at the nurse's station so I could get back on.
Can you tell what wattage the charger is?
How do I tell that?
It's usually written on it.
On the on the cube part or on the cord part?
On the charger itself. But then the cord also has a charging limit too. But that doesn't say.
I can't get to the outlet right now.
Yeah.
So I have to look on the cube part, right?
Yep. Generally with a phone, 5 watts is enough. 10 watts. Well, what model phone is it?
14 Pro Max.
14 Pro. I think that's one that started with the fast charging.
Does that mean something to?
If you have a higher wattage charger. Yeah, if you have up to a 30-watt charger, it can charge much faster than the lower wattage chargers. The lower the wattage, the longer it takes to charge.
Is there any deleterious effect on the battery by charging it at a higher wattage?
You're putting more heat into it, so it technically is likely to wear out faster. But whether that's a year faster or a week faster, we don't really know.
And is it true that you should not charge it above 80%?
In general, lithium batteries don't like to be maintained at full charge or to get too low a charge. Apple's batteries are designed to take that into account. And in fact, if you keep your laptop plugged in all the time, you'll probably get a message saying that we're going to stop charging it fully because you never use the battery.
Well, what if I just leave it in the charger overnight and I woke up and it says 100%? Did I do damage?
No. But if you leave it plugged in for years at a time, it could wear out faster. But every time you unplug it, it starts to discharge. And then when you plug it back in again, it won't overcharge. I don't think it starts charging until you're below 95% because it doesn't want to overcharge.
All right, folks, I think I'm going to sign off here. Thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome.
If I look at the charger when someone comes in here, and so if it's low or high wattage, what does that mean to me?
On how fast it will charge, and it has to be high enough wattage to charge at all. Let me see if I can find. iPhone 14 wants 20 watts. 20 watts minimum, and 30 watt is fast charging.
Okay, so 20 to 30. So if this happens to be like 10 watts, it might not charge it because it's not fast enough.
Yep.
But it was charging it before. I always have weird things happen, don't I? So if it was charging it before and stopped with nothing breaking.
Something broke if it's not charging.
Nothing visible.
Yeah.
No frayed cords or anything.
You said it was an off-brand. Most off-brand chargers aren't built very well.
I mean, it's pink, so I assume it's an off-brand.
Yeah. Apples are white.
The other possibility is if it's a kind of charger where there's the brick, the charger itself, and then there's a cable that plugs into that brick, it's possible that the cable has just come dislodged slightly.
Yep.
Yeah. I asked the nurse to check that to make sure it was like in there. Okay. She said it was. And I hadn't touched it. Unless you know what though? I forgot the previous nurse did that. Previous person had cleaned it with bleach. Maybe she got too much bleach in it or something.
Yep, that could have shorted it out.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly she did with the bleach. Aha. I forgot about that. Okay. I hate these things. Stupid little cables, and they make your life so difficult.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons a lot of people are going with the wireless charging because it doesn't move. It just sits there all the time, and you lay your phone down on it to charge.
And you don't have a cable to put on your belly to spray it.
Right.
So wireless, you have to touch it on it, right? You have to set it on it.
Yep.
It's not. There's no wireless that is like remote wireless. Is there yet?
I think it works about a millimeter away.
But you can't like be using the phone while you're charging it.
If you hold the charger to the back of the phone.
Yeah. And how much do those cost?
So I was looking here for accessories.
The phone has to be built for it. Is that, Kim, does that phone have a big circular thing on the back of it?
I don't know.
Let me check. I'm pretty sure the 8 and above had wireless charging options.
Except that, for example, the 16E you told me does not.
There was something sneaky about it, yeah. Was it the 16E or was it the Air? One of them, yeah, one of them didn't support charging. There we go.
I have
So yes, Apple has a 1 meter MagSafe charger for $39.
1 meter?
Found with mine that you actually need to center the charger disc on the circle on the back of the phone case. With off
Yeah,
gravity, it would.
it doesn't work. Yep. A lot of times the magnets are supposed to pull it directly in to the proper position.
I have an induction charger for my iPhone 8, and that works fine. When I was using the circular disc, it was horizontal. I'd have to fiddle with it to try to get it on the right spot, and then of course it would send a signal so that I know that it's charging. But now I use a black angled vertical one, so I can just glance at it from the side and read it. And because it defines where the phone is set, I don't have to fiddle with trying to locate it over the magnet.
Thank you.
Yeah, I muted her. She was getting too much background noise. So these magnetic chargers, you still have to have a. I hate that they call them a magnetic charger because this is just the charging cable. You still need to have a charger brick to plug it into.
Right.
So you need the charging brick, and then you need the box to charge it on, whatever you call it.
Right. Or you buy one that has both built in. There are several from multiple companies that have that.
The brick and what do you call it? Box? I'm calling it a box. What do you call it?
It's a round. The brick is the charger. The actual inductive part is a circular thing.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah. So the charging cable has the circular charger on it, and then the AC adapter that plugs into the wall outlet. I usually just call them a brick.
The AC adapter brick, and then the charging cable, and then the flat thing it sits on to charge it.
Which is connected to the charging cable.
Right.
Well, that round thing on the end is magnetic.
Yep.
And will stick on the back of your phone.
Right.
Okay.
Or you can get desktop versions that hold your phone up. And the iPhone has a special mode that if it's charging sideways, it turns into basically a bedtime clock with giant letters on it. So when you wake up in the middle of the night, you can see what time it is.
Oh, that's nice.
Another advantage of using an induction wireless charger is you're not constantly plugging in a cable and unplugging it multiple times, which wears out that cable very quickly.
There have been a lot of interesting rumors about Apple removing the charging port. And so going to only wireless charging. Yeah, just mute yourself when you're not talking, Kim.
I don't even hear anything.
There's whatever's playing in the background is really, really, really loud.
That's really bizarre. How's that? Can you hear anything now?
It's a lot lower. That helps a little bit.
I wonder if there's just weird noises in the hospital I'm used to.
Maybe.
But that
I forgot where I was going with that.
Charging, going what? No charging.
Oh yeah, no charging port. That will help the waterproofing. And then everything has to be done through wireless charging. Problem is wireless charging is slower than wired charging. And a lot of people use that charging port for a lot more than just charging. It's a full USB port, Thunderbolt on the higher end things. And so you can plug monitors into it, you can plug hard drives into it. There's docking stations you can plug in, especially for an iPad, and use a keyboard, mouse, and monitor when you dock your iPad.
Earphones.
Yep.
Everything.
A lot of stuff, yeah. So it took them, when did they really kill the headphone jack? Did Apple remove the headphone jack? 2017. So 10 years after introduction, they killed the headphone jack. So 2027 will be another 10 years. In fact, there's a lot of speculation that's when they're going to release the iPhone Fold, is 2027 for the 20th anniversary. Oh, yep, that's a very common Google question. Apple's not removing the charging port yet. So the iPhone 17 Air, part of the phones are becoming so thin that there's not enough room to put a socket there. So they had to include, there apparently was a speculation that this 17 Air, what? Everybody else is. Oops. There we go. Don't know how that happened. Sorry about that. Don't know how that happened.
Other people have charging cables, you know, places you go places, and they have standard charging cables that you can charge things at little stations and things.
Yeah, Lightning was the standard for a long time, and now Type-C is the standard.
The cables they have may not be small enough to fit into an iPhone, because there's often the somewhat slightly larger jacks that will not work.
Yeah, the older devices use Lightning, and the newer devices use Type-C.
When I bought my phone, I bought the wireless charger also, and I asked the guy at the Apple store if it was a Qi charger, and the guy didn't know what I was talking about. But you had mentioned that for the Apple phones, whatever charger you get doesn't necessarily have to be an Apple charger, but it has to be a Qi type charger.
Yeah, Qi or QI is the underlying standard that Apple's MagSafe uses. So you can get a third-party Qi charger if you don't want to get an Apple-branded MagSafe charger. If you've got a newer phone, then you can get Qi 2, which offers up to 15 watts of charging, which goes back to what we talked about earlier. If you can use a 30-watt charger on newer phones for fast charging, but Qi only comes to 15 watts so far, so you can't do fast charging with Qi.
But you had mentioned that the newer phones required at least 20 watts charging power, and mine is using a Qi charger, so apparently the threshold is lower than that.
Well, yeah, I don't think. In fact, that was the one thing the one AI summary. There's no technical lower limit. The lower the wattage, the longer it takes to charge.
Right.
In fact, in the early days, there was a problem with people mixing up their iPhone 5-watt charger and their iPad 10-watt charger. So it would charge the iPhone really fast because it was double the wattage it was expecting. But the iPad took a lot longer because it was half the wattage it was expecting.
Right.
So that's the iPhone was a physically smaller charger than the iPad. You can sometimes count on the larger the charging size being how much more wattage it offers. But that was the thing about that Anker 45-watt charger in a little tiny cube that they showed at CES. Anker's been really good about doing high wattage things in low sizes, mostly because they're using gallium arsenide circuitry.
Goodness. All right. Well, I guess I'm going to duck out now too. Thank you so much, Steve.
Yep.
And of course, Ken. So it's been fun. Bye.
Alrighty. Good night.
I'm talking and you can't hear me. I think the only thing I can figure out is
It's the same thing, the buzzing we hear from Shirley. There doesn't appear to be anything that would cause it, but the mic is picking it up.
It seems like an awfully good mic to be picking up voices from another room with the door closed.
Yeah. Same thing happened to us when we were using Zoom, and it feels like the ambient mic is doing all it can to pick up as much voice as it can. That's why using a headset with a close enough microphone to help isolate noise from the background helps.
Yeah, I need earphones too, but I need a charger more than I need earphones. But earphones would be helpful too, especially in a hospital where you don't want people hearing your info. But at least I have a private room now. But yeah, earphones, chargers, all these stupid little things that make your nice phone useless.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when I bought a Sennheiser wireless headphones to listen to television programs, and when somebody in another room was using a cordless telephone, it turned out it was on the same frequency.
Yep.
And I could hear the entire telephone conversation. And I'm just wondering if there might be a parallel with what we're experiencing right here at the nurse's station, that there's some similar frequency that gets picked up somehow.
Well, those old cordless phones were 900 megahertz, and that was the problem. There weren't many channels. And the newer Wi-Fi and Bluetooth technologies use spread spectrum. And so the frequency changes every millisecond, I think. But what's happening with Kim is it's hearing some ambient noise because she's using the ambient microphone.
It's not just in total electronic then, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't hear it because it's just like, they're talking in another room, but somehow you're hearing it. It's just weird, right? Weird that it's picking it up. But I don't know. I'm lucky I have anything, I guess, right now.
Sometimes in the meeting software, I'm looking now, but I don't see it. There's an auto gain or a voice isolation, because I know what happens on mine, and it just did. I have to keep raising my audio input level because it keeps dropping too low to be heard easily. But I know what's causing. It's hearing something in the background. So a TV out on the floor.
Yeah, my neighbor down the hall.
Yeah.
10 rooms away. But here's the other weird thing. So I'm just sitting here holding it, right? All of a sudden the little lightning came on. Now it's charging again.
That almost makes me think there's something in the port. If you wiggle the cord, the port is getting loose, which can happen from plugging and unplugging too many times.
Yep, it just went from 13 to 14. So, but of course I can't sit here perfectly still and hold the stupid thing, like hoping it charges.
Yep.
And then it gets down to a certain degree and you're like, oh no, my phone's going to die. So you got to watch it and make sure you keep it up over 50%, 70%, and keep it charged.
Yep.
It's weird. I've never had an off-brand thing before. The instability of it is very bizarre.
Well, some of them are just made too cheap.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I think we'll call it a night for everyone, and we'll see. What, Linda?
Good night.
Alrighty. Yep. Good night.
So next week board meeting.
Yes.
How was dinner? How was Christmas dinner?
It was good. Yep. Everybody liked it. Alrighty. Good night, all.